Jeremy's DnDTime, hitting Jeremy's DnD. Hitting Jeremy's DnDTime, hitting Jeremy's DnD. And Jeremy, you know we're gonna have some fun when we are based on DnD. Hitting Jeremy's DnDTime, when we are based on DnD. Beat and Jeremy's DnDTime. Come and have some fun, play D&D. Beat and Jeremy's DnDTime. Come play some D&D with me. Beat and Jeremy's DnDTime. So many fun things to do. Beat and Jeremy's DnDTime. This is our invitation to you. Beating Jeremy's DnDTime, beating Jeremy's DnD. Beating Jeremy's DnDTime, beating Jeremy's DnD. So many fun things to do.
Hello, welcome everybody to the first adventure of the evening, an adventure that I'm entitling The Hive. Before we get into it, we are going, as always, to meet all of our characters here. So just going down left to right. Actually, I'm not sure who's left to right at the moment because I can't see the screen, but I think it's going to be Woosh. So coming up first, we got Woosh coming back. What's going on, man? Oh no, it's been so long, I forgot the correct pronunciation of your name. It's Woosh. Well, either way, welcome tonight, Woosh. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am a Tortle bard. I have come out from the sea to try and entertain you land dwellers. I took a bit of a vacation and roamed around the world of D&DTime singing. That's why I haven't been adventuring.
Did you see any did you see any in particularly interesting sights, or?
I tried to get in contact with the Dreadlocks again, but sadly I didn't have a VIP pass, whatever that is.
Oh yeah, that's tough. Their concerts are very exclusive. Also, Jeremy, if you can hear this on stream, for some reason we currently have Cuddle Muffin on the roster in place of Dustu. So if you can change that one up in a moment, that'll be fine. So I have a question.
It's in place of Woosh and not Dustu.
Oh wait, in place of Woosh. We need Woosh and Dustu in the list.
Dustu's in the list. Woosh is not.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm sure it will eventually get itself straightened out. So in that case, Woosh. I have a question. Does Woosh know Cuddle Muffin at all? I feel like they'd get along pretty well.
Sadly, has not had the pleasure of meeting him.
Perhaps one
has been too busy dealing with trees and plant lives, and occasionally monitoring the zoo, pondering animals are kept in cages.
Yes, that's troubling indeed. But perhaps he has met Dustu Galu to move on to our next character here. We have returning. This is, I think, the first time we've ever had two turtles in one game. Dustu, how are you?
We're the only two turtles.
Yeah. So Dustu, remind us a little bit about yourself, and I believe your noble ambitions. Also, if you could put on push to. Oh, somebody's echoing my voice back at me. I think it's you, Fox, actually, if you could put on push to talk for a moment.
What, me?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, my name is Dustu Galu, and I worship the great war goddess Terra. Though she's been in a bit of a peacetime, I have been sent to settle relations between the cloud and the conch.
Yes, the ever-burning holy war between two of our most popular community-built religions here, the great big cloud and the conch. And
the world will be in great peril if they do not calm down with their shit.
You know, I've never heard kind of the issues put before so bluntly and also probably so accurately. And remind us again, what is Dustu's sort of wheelhouse? What does he bring to the table as a adventurer in Bartholomew's stable?
I am a cleric. I do heal, yes, but for the most part, I protect those who cannot protect themselves. Mostly children.
Indeed. This is perhaps, I don't know if there will be a lot of children to project today, but well, we'll see how Dustu reacts to the unique individuals he'll be encountering. Excellent. So moving down the line, we have returning Sword Coheir. Sword, remind us a little bit about who you are and kind of what your overall, what's your thing, what's your shtick?
Well, my shtick mostly entertains the world of alchemy. Bartholomew's little troop has allowed me to explore vast lands I could not do on my own, and I'm forever grateful, despite his eccentricities.
Yes, Bartholomew is certainly a little bit of a character at times, and his expectations of adventurers, on one hand, he guarantees your safety by promising to bring you back, but it is occasionally still a little bit unnerving to go into situations where you are forced to die and then come back to life.
Is it always resurrection, or does he sometimes use reincarnate and we come back as a different race?
No, it's always a resurrection of different sorts. Now, Sword, I can't remember. Have you had the unfortunate experience of falling in an adventure to this point?
I'm afraid my first adventure didn't fare so well.
That is, I thought I remember that correctly.
Yes, and subsequent ones have not. I have come pretty close to a
repeat performance.
Yes, and acting is not my forte.
Fair enough. I have a question. Has that shaken Sword's resolve at all, the ever-present danger, or do you enjoy this kind of thing?
Well, fortunately enough, I'm a glutton for punishment.
Fortunately is the perfect word, I think, to describe it in this case, because once again, I think you'll be being thrown into the fire. And of course, last but not least, we have returning Sugarmama. It's been a very long time, Sugarmama. Fox, are you... Oh.
She's been muted.
I think that Fox is back now.
Ah, hello.
We may...
push to talk.
Danger, or do you enjoy this kind of thing?
Hang on. How about now?
Yep, you're good.
Yeah.
Okay. Hello.
Hello, Sugarmama. How have you been? How's life been? It's been an extremely long time.
Yes, it has. I heard Gummy went on an adventure with you lads the other day.
Yes, Gummy went out with a pretty interesting crew. I believe that he. I remember distinctly him really missing his mother, of course, though.
Aw, he's a sweet child.
So, Sugarmama, remind us again kind of what you bring to the table. If I remember correctly, you are from, of course, the Big Rock Candy Mountains.
Of course. That's where we're from, yes. We worship the great big cloud, the ice cream cloud version, of course. The true one.
I mean, I think there are some individuals who would disagree that it is the true way to worship the cloud.
Well,
but
they're entitled to their opinion, but it doesn't mean that they're right.
Indeed. And how do you feel about Dustu's? Well, I guess even more than that, how do you feel about the conch? Dustu's talking a lot about preventing this holy war. Do you feel engaged in this war yourself?
Not particularly. I've cast the bones, and I've foreseen how these things will turn out.
I have heard of these rock candy mountain worshippers, and we have no issues with them. They seem to be the more peaceful branch.
Yes, well, you know what sugar rushes do after a while. You crash, and not much energy to do much of anything, really.
Well, very well. Welcome, Sugarmama. It's good to have you back once more. So let us dive into tonight's adventure. Bartholomew has sent the group of you to the frontier. For those of you who are not familiar, the frontier is the region to the farthest western portion of the land of DnDTime. It is home to trains, bandits, and it's a very harsh climate. There's very little water in most locations, so it's a wonder that it manages to survive. It
No water
does.
for Turtle? Grand.
Yeah, it's definitely a pretty unpleasant environment for you. In particular, probably Woosh and Dustu. I'd probably Sugarmama as well is used to a much more heavily watered climate, so to speak.
Yes, it's much more humid.
So you've been sent here because the in particular location that supplies most of the water for all of the various towns and settlements that are out here has stopped sending shipments. It is a location known as the Hive. It is kind of deep within the frontier, and they are the only group of people that have dug deep enough underground to actually find wells and have a reliable source of water out here in the west. So their water kind of protects the lives of everyone in the surrounding regions. And those shipments have stopped, so there are a lot of people that are in a lot of danger at the moment. And that danger increases as this kind of halt on water production, continues onwards. So where we begin, we find you at the location that Bartholomew's teleported to you, outside of this place called the Hive. It appears to be just a huge mound of sand, just kind of among the desert and dry, cracked earth of the frontier. The four of you appear just outside of it. You're looking up at this kind of large thing. Sitting atop of it, you can see seems to be a human man. He's just kind of leaning back at the top of this mound, just kind of gazing up at the sun. He seems to have some kind of he's using kind of almost a big fan or almost an umbrella, a makeshift umbrella-like thing to block the sun from his face, but it's very hot.
But yeah, so we feel the heat, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
I immediately use prestidigitation to cool myself.
Okay, yeah. You wave your hands over, and just this magical
so
cool
much
washes
better.
over. It's a small area. It's a little bit tough to keep up, so you're just constantly fanning yourself with prestidigitation.
Essentially, yeah.
in different spots, but yeah.
I'll do the same.
It is quite warm, yes. But us Tortle aren't actually so partial to water as, well, we are.
Mine's
as
flavored from the
affected
sea,
as
so yes,
sun.
he is.
Well, we are to the sun as humans are. We don't despise it, but too much of it is not a good thing.
Yeah, and it's certainly too much out here. The sky is cloudless. It beats down above you.
I rather like the sun, but being cold-blooded and what have you, but it could be a bit much, really.
You see the figure kind of sitting up on the hill. You hear him. You hear him kind of call out to the group of you. He just kind of is waving his hand, and he just says, "Hi."
Hello.
Hello there.
Hello there.
He's a bit distant right now. That was kind of a yell for him.
I
So,
will approach then.
Okay. Yeah, you you climb up the hill. It's loose, very loose earth. Like I said, it's just sand piled kind of piled on top of itself.
A little help up, dearie.
I wanna help the lady. She looked the older humanoid. Are you humanoid?
Oh, I'm a Lizardfolk, darling.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I'll help her.
Yeah, you help up. It's not nothing that you would have to roll an athletics check for per se, but it's it's kind of kind of a difficult terrain, so to speak. But eventually you make it up to the top, slipping probably a couple times here and there. He says, "Hi there." You're looking now at this person. They are strange looking. They look human, which probably to a lot of you, all humans look a little bit strange, save mayhap's sword. But their eyes, they're just a little bit too big for their head. And he has kind of a mannerisms. He moves his head very quickly and kind of twitches it back and forth. He never quite seems to move the eyes. And when he does eventually do that, as he turns his head up and looks at one of you, you see kind of the pupils themselves kind of move very far over to the side of the eyeball. It's a little bit unsettling, and he looks up to you. "Hi."
Hello.
Hello, dearie.
Who are you?
Oh, well, you see, there's this funny old man named Bartholomew, and he sent us here.
Bartholomew. I don't know a Bartholomew.
We are
He's a
here
rather
to see
powerful
what has
wizard.
happened to the water shipments.
Water shipments. Oh, there's tons of water. If you're thirsty, do you want to come in?
Oh, please.
It's very hot outside today. I wanted to get a little bit of sun, but why don't we go down?
Yeah.
And you can see he kind of gestures over to the side, and there's a huge sort of hole in the top of this hill that just ducks downwards, and he just reaches over, and you see him actually lean forward, and he starts just climbing down the sides of the wall, like a bug or like a spider, just moving over it with ease. But it's just kind of like a downward drop that he's moving down.
If one were to total defense, could they slide down it?
Yeah, you could probably do that, and would take an acrobatics check to see if you pull it off without kind of suffering any maleffects. But give it a shot.
Sure, that's what I want to do, because I don't feel like climbing today.
Yeah, please do. Go ahead and make me an acrobatics check. Yeah, that's good enough. So you ball up into your turtle and just slide down. As you do, you see the kind of boy in front of you just, whoa! His head turns and he looks at you. That was cool. Can you all
See you
do
at
that?
the bottom, people.
Is there
Well, I
water
will
at the
try.
bottom, dearie?
Yeah, lots of it. A whole bunch.
No, I mean like at the drop.
Oh, nope.
I see.
I'm doing it anyway. Dustu's gonna try as well.
Okay, yeah. Following short after, Dustu drops down and slide. As you begin sliding, you notice eventually, Sugarmama, it kind of like levels out and turns flat, and you guys are now sliding along. It's fairly well packed earth, and it's this kind of labyrinthine collection of tunnels that you're just kind of moving through. A lot of them are a little bit too small for you to go through. You're just kind of flowing down the main thing. And the main path eventually leads you outwards into a large kind of open area. How are Sword and Sugarmama going to kind of proceed down here?
Well, I suppose I'll just slide down like the boys.
Okay. Go ahead and make me an acrobatics. It was a little bit higher DC from you because you didn't have the slippery shell, but as you begin sliding down, you just kind of catch along the earth. They kind of almost made you a little bit of a path in the packed earth to slide down, so you do so as well. You gonna do the same thing, Sword, or you just gonna climb down? Or
I'm going to climb down. I'm not going to risk it with this much weight.
go ahead and make an athletics.
Did you just call yourself fat?
I think he just carries a lot of stuff. Or no, not acrobatics. Athletics is what you're gonna want, because you're just physically climbing. It relies on your strength rather than your. Yeah, okay. You're good. No problem at all for you. You're mimicking what this boy is doing, just kind of moving along the wall, but just with raw strength. It's no natural physical ability that's letting you do this. But you climb your way down as well. All of you enter into. Eventually, this very large, as I had mentioned before, this sort of huge open cavern. And as you do so, you can hear the sound of running water coming from within. As you look around, you can see it is, as the name would imply, it is a hive of activity. And the entire inside of it is filled with these strange creatures. They appear to all be some kind of mix between insects and humanoids. You see a number of, if anyone would like to make me a nature check for what these are.
Yep.
That's possible you've encountered one
All
of
right.
these.
Nah.
Never before in my life.
Let's see.
Yeah, no one of you know what these are, but they appear to be just these like strange humanoid like insects that are all moving around in varying kind of states of human ability.
Does this do anything for me?
No, you have to actually have
No, you would have to be able to go to where, like, you would know where to go to find out what these are, but you would have to go there, unfortunately.
All right, gotcha.
I have two questions.
So what it does for you at this time, you think to yourself, Sugarmama, there's a library back in the Big Rock Candy Mountains where I know for a fact I would be able to look up what these strange bug people are. But for now,
just something that I should remind everyone of. This is the thing that I have, so they're probably all looking at me like, "What's with this weird guy?"
They absolutely are. For a moment, their eyes will sort of pass over you, and they linger for a moment, but then move on about their business. Over on kind of the far sides of the wall, you can see large kind of hex-like honeycombs in the wall, where some of these insect-like bees are busily buzzing around and moving and going about their work over there. There are a number of flowers emanating from the ground. It's cool and it's damp in here. And all along the base, there are various puddles where it seems like water is springing up from deep wells within the earth. It's actually fairly pleasant inside, unless you're afraid of bugs, in which case it is an absolute nightmare.
Well, I would ask, like, do you think they have enough money? If I start dancing, do you think they'll pay?
You begin to dance.
I turn to the other turtle.
Actually, I was going to say, as you start to as you're dancing, you can actually hear very soft, reverberating throughout the cavern. There is some music being played.
Ooh.
It's very gentle. It's just a very gentle sort of violin or cello piece that you're hearing.
You know, put my hands together, going like, well, I know we have a mission and all, but there's music that way, and that's more my jam, and I'm going to start walking that way.
How'd you like, dearie? Come along, and Sugarmama's gonna plod after him.
Okay. And as you all are kind of walking in that direction, I would like you all to make wisdom saving throws.
I'm good.
Oh
at
my god.
these.
None of you know
Everyone's
anything
good at
about them,
these.
but everyone is extremely wise, it would seem. You guys are very in sync tonight. All of you are just kind of, for a moment as you're listening to this music and you're just kind of sitting within the cave, all of you have this brief moment where you just want to like take a nap. You want to relax. You don't really care about anything that's going on, but you kind of shrug that off, and then I believe it was who recommended kind of checking out some of this music.
Do we know it's magic, or is it just something that happens and we're just like, oh, okay?
No, it's just kind of like, a passing feeling that you have.
Okay.
So you begin kind of moving forward. As you do so, you see a number of these various kind of insects look over to you. One ant in particular. Hello there.
Hello.
Hello. You know where that lovely music is coming from?
It's very pleasant, isn't it?
Decent. I'd love to meet the person. Get a few pointers on my own music. Pulls out conch.
Oh, what's that?
This is from the sea. It is known as a conch.
What's the sea?
It's a big body of water, dearie.
With salt.
Water
That sounds-
as far as the eye can see.
That sounds unpleasant to drink. Would you like some water? We have a lot.
Of course, but
does it cost
a
anything?
question, dear.
Yes?
So, we were sent here because water isn't getting up around to the other places in the frontier. Do you know why that might be?
I mean, that's usually my job and his job and them. And he points over kind of across the way, and there's a pile. There looks like to be a group of like 50 or so ants that are all just kind of like lazing around on sort of large flowers. Some of them are just kind of like splashing in the various pools. Kind of looks over to the group of you. So yeah, we usually do it, but I don't know. I've just been busy lately.
Busy with what?
Doing what I feel like, maybe. About that water, you still want it?
If it's free, I'll take a glass.
Yeah, of course it's free. You guys are friends, right? We're friends, aren't we?
I want to insight that. I feel
Sure.
there's something off.
Sugarmama is actually going to clamp her jaws around the ant's head.
Oh, jeez. Oh, wait. In a non-threatening way.
Yeah, just the
Okay.
massaging way.
Oh, okay, yeah. For a second, I thought that was just you making a bite attack.
No.
Nom nom.
Insight? I don't know. He definitely, there's something a little bit off about him, and you're not sure if that's because you're talking to a weird ant bug and you don't know how to read them, or if it's because it's just a weird situation. Either way, you're not entirely sure, but yeah, something a little bit weird.
Is
Okay.
it just
I'll
me,
take a
or they
cup.
all seem far too relaxed?
He kind of
Seem fine to
walks
me.
over, he pours you a cup. You want some honey? I could ask one of them. Hey,
It's okay.
hey,
I've got it
you!
myself.
And you see one of the bees that was just kind of like buzzing around. You see it looks down at you. Oh, you want some honey?
I'm just gonna cast Prestidigitation on the water and make it taste like seaweed and start drinking it.
All right, you drink some of it. It's the prestidigitation. It covers up a lot of the taste, but the water, it's pure. It's crisp. If water could be delicious, then this is. But also, there's that distinctive taste of seaweed that you so enjoy.
Some fine water you got here. Might have to fill up my water skin. Tips out water skin stuff. Ask him to fill it up with it.
Yeah, whatever you'd like. Whatever you'd like. Do you want?
Yeah.
Over this way, there's beds and there's lots of just kind of nice cocoons and.
Yeah.
There is something about this water. Not this water, but that music. So,
Yeah, just kind of ever present.
Dustu is gonna kind of like take some cloth out and pad his ears with it, so that he's not hearing the music.
What the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
It's good music.
There
That's
is
what
something
Woosh would say to you.
about it, though.
He looks to you, kind of confused. This ant does, kind of turns. But now you're not going to be able to hear the music.
Yeah,
I know.
he's a little odd. Not all turtles are the same, obviously.
And then I'm gonna take up my lute and start playing.
You have a
Okay.
lute?
Yes,
Ooh,
I
we're
have
having a
Go
jam
ahead.
session.
Go ahead.
I'm
What are you playing?
a lute.
Well, what are you like playing upon it? Are you like
Oh.
playing with the music, or are you just gonna like do your own thing, or what's your?
I'm gonna kind of do my own thing. It's gonna be a ballad of the earth, an earth ballad, if you will.
Okay. You play. You begin to play a Ballad of the Earth. Oh, you already rolled your performance. Oh, 19. All right.
What up?
Your music, it conflicts and kind of it kind of contrasts with a lot of the very gentle and soothing music that's lilting throughout the inside of the hive here. As you begin to play it, you notice the ant in front of you and a couple of the other ones that are around. They kind of start shaking their heads even more than they already do a little bit. Their motions were already quick, but their heads start just kind of spasming back and forth to the side. What? What am I doing? What am I? Who are you? What am I doing? What's today? What's the date today? Today's date. What is it?
Do we know the date?
Yeah, you know it. You say it.
Yeah.
You say the date. It is the 16th of Fantasy March.
It's a Wednesday.
Yeah. Oh no, it's definitely Friday. It's definitely Friday. It's always Friday.
We only adventure on Friday.
Bartholomew only sends out adventures on Friday, as everyone is aware.
Okay.
There are so many shipments that I have to make. Why is that not? And he kind of looks over. You see him just kind of start scurrying off and moving away from you over towards. There's just a huge stack of kegs that has like piled up over on the side of the room.
Yeah.
And he just seems to be in a little bit of a breakdown at the moment.
Just
Seems
as
that
I
would be
thought,
important.
they have been enchanted.
And as he kind of moves away from you and your kind of hard, earthy music stops kind of interfering with it, you see him kind of walking over and he's investigating the barrels very quickly. And then he kind of takes a hand and opens one of the barrels and he just kind of goes and grabs a drink of it. And you see him just kind of calm down and sit back down and relax. And you just hear him just kind of say to himself, the actual just goes, huh.
That's something you don't see every day.
I have a feeling this music is what's caused the shipments to stop.
Very good, dearie.
Sugarmama, even though she's little, is going to pat his arm as best she could.
Also, the ant whose head you were massaging, he seemed pretty into it. He's just kind of there, like, as you kind of wrapped your mouth around his head, he's just there, kind of. At first, he was saying something like, "What are you doing?" Oh, and then as you started to actually say, just kind of just lets out
I go
this.
into my backpack.
Okay.
And pull out the record stone.
Okay.
And I play it.
Yeah, you do so. The heavy anthem of the Dread Rocks begins to come through.
Good. Now I can stop. I put my loot away.
Yes. As you begin walking, so you guys said you were going to kind of go and start moving in the direction of the sound.
Yes.
All right. As you
I still
do
have
so,
the cloth around my ears, by the way.
Yes, naturally. As you
I
do
my
so,
oversized cup and fill it with another glass of water.
Sugarmama just wraps
Absolutely.
more cloth around her head.
okay. Sword,
She
you doing
doesn't
anything
quite
at this
like
point?
the sun. Sorry, what was that?
I was asking if Sword was taking any particular action in this regard as you see your allies starting to kind of gear up. Are you still with us, Sword?
Maybe he's tending to the baby.
Maybe we might have lost Sword for a brief moment. If you come back, let me know. So as you proceed forward towards the sound, you hear it grow steadily louder and louder. You eventually enter into what appears to be another kind of side chamber after passing down through a couple of tunnels. And as you're moving through, you notice the bugs on either side are more and more just kind of mellowed out. As you walk by a room, there seems to be a lot of butterflies and moths within, which all just kind of look at you. They're just kind of flapping their wings idly, like lounging on walls, when just very kind of contented sighs. Moving onward, eventually you find yourself in a chamber with this source of this music. You can see sitting on a beautifully crafted. It appears to be made almost of honeycomb, and it was definitely created by the insects here. A throne of sorts, and sitting back, just kind of lazily perched, feet up on a nearby table. You see a grasshopper holding a very large cello that's just kind of playing with his eyes closed. And the only thing he kind of stops for and interrupts is he just kind of opens his mouth. And you watch a nearby ant run over and just kind of pour some water in, and then another one walk over and place, it looks like some grapes and a couple of pieces of fruit in his mouth, which he chews very lazily, his eyes still closed, just kind of sitting and playing the cello. He seems to actually be using his leg as one of the bows for the cello, but he holds it in one of his hands.
Tell me about the cello.
It's very beautiful. Go ahead and make an intelligence check.
Okay.
And I'll give you proficiency in it because of your musician background.
Okay, so that would be
Plus an additional 2, so 14.
Yeah.
It seems to be a normal cello. You don't notice anything that's like in particularly distinct about the cello to it. But other than that, the musician is fairly talented with it. Not fairly, very talented.
Okay, so
and
I want to move up to him.
all right, and as you begin walking in, you do all notice one more thing. Sitting just kind of on his back on the side of the room, you can see it appears to be, it's the largest of these kind of bug lycanthropes, entothropes as they are called. It is the largest of these creatures. It appears to have at one time been a Hercules beetle that's just on his back, kind of in the center of the room, just kind of rolling back and forth. But you all enter in. Eventually, he kind of drearily opens his eyes and looks towards you, the grasshopper on the throne. As you approach, whoosh, what would you like to do?
Sugarmama's gonna come along.
Okay, yeah. I will assume that all of you kind of walk up into the room.
Yep.
Ignore the large bug. Continue moving towards the entertainer that's playing the music.
Yep.
I'll do a perception check to look around for more entothropes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, make me a perception check, and welcome back.
I've been here. I hit the mute button by accident.
Oh, okay. As you kind of scan around the room, you can see two ants that are kind of in the process of serving him. You can see the grasshopper upon the throne. You see this huge kind of half human, half beetle that's kind of lazing around. That appears to be all that you pick up. There are a few like kind of crevices high up on the wall that you're watching. Your best guess is that those would be kind of larval pods from what you kind of know about insects, but they don't appear to be any motion in them or movement at the moment.
Excuse me, dearie.
Well, hello there.
Hello.
Never stops playing the cello as he looks up at you. What can I do for you?
Well, we came to find out about why the water's not being shipped out anymore.
Now that is an excellent question.
Turn to page 42 of your adventure guide.
I haven't been sending out the water, or no one has really. Everyone around here is always so busy. I thought it would be best if everyone had the opportunity to relax a while.
I see. But you know, dearie, a lot of people depend on that water.
Yeah, I know. Is what he says.
So, don't you think it's about time they ought to get back to work?
Move closer to the harp.
The people here are good people, and they it's a cello, but as you start to step you start to step closer, and he's definitely has his eye fixed on you. He's looking straight forward, but the kind of pupils roll down and are facing you. The people here are good people, and they don't deserve to work themselves to the bone day after day, toiling so that, well, they should reap the benefits of their own work, I feel.
That is their choice to make, dearie. You can't force them to make a choice.
I'm not forcing them to do anything. I'm just helping them relax a little bit. It's inside them somewhere. I couldn't bring it out if it wasn't.
I must say, it is forcing them, as one of the ants out there did not even know what day it was after he snapped out of it. Now, I do not disagree that all of the people here deserve breaks and do not work themselves to the bone, but perhaps we can come to some sort of agreement to balance the two.
Listen to me. I don't know who the four of you are.
I'm Sugarmama. I'm from the Candy Rock Mountains.
This was, there's not really a chair. There's not really a chair next to him, Woosh, as you're getting this close.
Sit on the ground is fine then.
Okay, yeah, you're just gonna sit up very close. All right, yeah, you sit on the ground next to him.
He's good people.
Yes. He doesn't seem to mind too much. I don't know who you are. I did not mean that by your name, and it is nice to meet you. My name is Mendelssohn.
Oh, it's pleasant to meet you, Mendelssohn.
Listen, I don't think, for what it's worth, that you have any business interfering with our hive. You are not from the hive. You would not know how to govern it by any means. I think I am far more responsible in that regard. I would appreciate it if you would leave and allow me to rule as I see fit.
Is he within? He's within, like, quite close to me, right?
Yes, he is.
I suppose you have a point, dearie. I certainly didn't mean to meddle, but we were hired to do a job, and I feel like it's something we have an obligation to see through, at least somewhat.
He's humanoid looking, right?
If you're the leader of this hive, you're like a parent, right? And you should know that hard work builds character.
Very much like a parent You could. I have a great proposition. I think that everyone's going to be very happy with what I have to say here. We can continue to do as we do, and the four of you who want to see the shipment reach its location, you can bring the water to the towns that need it.
That is what this hive was created for, was it not?
And to house our people.
Oh,
Looking at this creature, would I consider them humanoid?
You are. This is kind of the same as your previous nature check. There's some kind of weird humanoid bug. That's the best you can.
Yeah, that's what I
best
need
you
to
can
know. The
say.
humanoid part. So I'm gonna cast Charm Person on him.
In the context of the spell, as you cast Charm Person on them, you focus for a brief moment as I look up whether or not it works.
Yeah, attempt to charm a humanoid. You can see.
Yep, and it does.
Okay, yeah, that's why I was asking.
Or he has to roll. Well, you wouldn't know for sure.
Save.
Is the question? Yep.
The DC is quite low, so he's probably gonna pass. Yeah, he passes.
He looks to you now sharply. That is unacceptable. I'm going to have to ask you to leave now. All of you, frankly, you're really harshing my mellow.
Okay, Plan B. I try to sing really loudly over the top of his cello.
Now, you do so, and you start to do that, and she goes, "Well, now this is getting ridiculous. Please stop immediately."
23 singing.
I mean, you're singing very beautifully, and it's very loud. It's not somehow actually louder than the cello in this chamber. Like, it's echoing. Like, in this chamber, the volume isn't loud, but you can still hear it piercing through. It's like it's kind of coming from everywhere within the room.
As a fellow... Go ahead.
Please.
Okay. Sugarmama's gonna say, as a fellow parent, I can't really approve of letting your children laze around all day, every day. They'll just rot like that. I mean, my two boys. Now, if I let them, they'd eat candy all day, every day, and one of them has all the candy fallen out. I blame myself for not watching him more closely, but
Can I make a
he's a
wisdom save to
special
this story?
boy. But you see, I can't let you do the same thing to the rest of these fine young insects.
That's my choice to make, I think. And
Can I do a
I
wisdom
saw.
save to that story?
Well, hold on a second. You succeed, and also, it seems like there was a sacred flame cast upon this dude.
Oh lord. Okay.
mostly upon the cello.
Oh, on the cello. Okay, well,
Yeah.
at this point, he's definitely not surprised by your actions here, as your ally has already
Tried to
cast a spell at him.
It's like screaming in his face.
So
with
I
music.
think it's going to be initiative at this point before that sacred flame goes off.
What's his dex? Minus 10. He's probably higher.
He has a +3 to Dex. He's pretty good at that.
So he'll go before me.
But Sugarmama first!
Yeah.
Oh, no, never mind. Sword first.
You watch as Mendelssohn sort of hops up and he shifts and the cello flips to the side, and you see him start to play kind of a much different sort of, whoa, what just happened to my music thing? Everything is out of control right now. You hear him start to play a much sharper melody upon his cello. So, in this case, the first to act is you, Sword. What would you wish to do?
The first action I would take would be to quickly take my light crossbow and go for one of the weaker ant people.
Yeah, all right. You're just gonna go for one of the servants.
Before they become a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead and make an attack roll. Absolutely. Go ahead and roll damage on that. That hits. And you roll damage by clicking on cross. Yeah, there we go.
Right. I forgot.
Yeah, no worries. The crossbow bolt flies to one of the servants who's in the process of kind of like bringing some water over to Mendelssohn. But as the music shifts, you can hear that ant all of a sudden. The sound that you've been hearing a lot of them just kind of make casually, all of them, that one and the other one, especially the one that struck with the crossbow, look at you very sharply and are starting to kind of move into action. And in the distance from the hive behind you, as this music picks up, you can hear a growing you can hear a humming of activity with this shift in tone of the piece. That is going to, I think, bring us to yep.
Well, I have my familiar who's been sitting on my arm. It's a little white snake, and I'm going to have her slither on over to Mendelssohn.
Yes.
And while she's doing that, she'll try to stop, get in the strings a little bit, mess it up.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna have, I'll have him make an attack roll. So go ahead and make an attack roll with the snake.
All right, just a normal one.
Whatever the snake's normal to hit is. Okay, yeah. It kind of climbs up and moves around the cello and starts kind of scaling it. Mendelssohn goes to like pull and kind of whack him off, but nice.
Cello needs constitution save.
Well, the cello is immune to poison, as it were.
Don't worry about it.
But Skesh kind of goes up and kind of wraps around the strings and is definitely kind of messing up the music. It's not nearly as clear as it was before.
That's a good
it's going to affect some of his moves for sure.
And now she's going to wiggle her hand around. And I guess cast sleep.
Sleep. All right. You watch as it's going to be hard for you not to get Woosh in the mix, as he was sitting right next to Mendelssohn. Are you okay with that?
Yeah.
Well, I was aiming for more of the others in the room, not Mendelssohn himself.
Well, what I'm saying, if you want to get like both, you could like target one ant and get it precisely. But if you want to get both ants, Woosh would also be in that zone because they're kind of on either side of him, and Woosh is in the middle.
I see.
So if not the one with the lowest hit points.
Do you want to go for it, or do you want to not risk that? Or you can just target one if you would like.
I'll target both of them.
Okay. How many hit points do you have, by the way?
23.
Yep, you're good. You watch as the ant that had already taken the crossbow bolt from Sword's shot before kind of falls over and is lulled off to sleep.
Yeah, there's dust in my face. Yeah, Woosh yawns.
All right. As the one ant falls, the other one still seems okay at this time. Not enough to bring it down, unfortunately. However, or that's it. Is there anything else on your turn?
No.
Okay. And the big beetle that you saw when you entered in, as it passes now to Mendelssohn's turn, it's kind of like rolling over back and forth, trying to like right itself, but it's having a little bit of trouble generating the necessary momentum to get into the fray proper. So in that case, Mendelssohn is going to look to you, Dustu. I would like you to make me a wisdom saving throw.
If he's playing music, do I get advantage because I have the cloth things?
No. No, this penetrates simple cloth.
Wow.
So you're going to take 13 points of psychic damage, and there's just a sharp...
I'd like to use my reaction to cutting words that damage.
Can you do that?
It says damage as well.
Yep,
So
cool.
give me
Go ahead and roll the cutting words.
D6, right? I think it's a D6.
Yep.
Reduce it by 3 to 10 damage instead.
All right, so you take 10 points of psychic damage, Dustu, but you are also incredibly frightened in this moment, as this one shrill note of dissonance in the piece just like pierces through you, and all of a sudden, Mendelssohn, he just appears terrifying to you, and you just begin booking it, or on your turn, you will have to use your turn to run away as far as you can. And then the other ant is going to run up to you, Sugarmama, and is going to make an attack against you.
Oh no.
Does that 12 hit?
No, I'm afraid not.
The ant goes up and kind of grabs onto your sides and goes to bite down with its kind of mandibles. You watch as it was a little bit more human as it was moving towards you, but its form is becoming more and more giant insect-like. All right, and the beetle is still trying to roll up, so that's going to be all for the foe's turn. That's going to, in that case, bring us now to you, Woosh.
Do I notice that he's frightened?
Make a perception check.
Okay.
He isn't you wouldn't actually, he isn't physically reacted to it in any way. All that's happened is
in that case, I want to try and cut the strings of the cello chords.
All right. Go ahead and...
And I don't know if claws are light weapons, whether I get 2 or not. I'm not sure about that. I'll just do 1 for the moment.
Claws are light weapons. All right, cool. Go ahead and roll damage on that.
If they're light weapons, I can do it offhand. That's cool. Right.
All right, your hand kind of whips as you move up to him and slashes into the strings of the cello. You hear them ring out, and you can see a couple of frayed kind of pieces of steel wire that are beginning to come off. It's going to take more than just one swift strike to break the strings of this cello. It's very quality made, but you are definitely doing some damage to the cello itself, which Mendelssohn looks furious about now. The calm demeanor that he had before has completely cut away.
Alright, I'll do an offhand one then. So I'm proficient. Just quickly setting up the offhand. I haven't put in the damage type yet, but it's slashing again.
I don't know if you can offhand...
You said it was light.
Offhand with claws as a bonus action if you're not a monk. I think it might only be reserved for monks to bonus action extra attack. If Jeremy's watching and he wants to give me a rules clarification on this, let me know. But for now, I'll cut it. So you strike again. Another sick damage. You're coming near, and actually no, with this, the first string on the cello gets knocked off. You see him just frustratedly continue to play, but you've taken out one string of his cello at this point. The music is not as beautiful as it once was, but it still seems to be carrying magical weight.
And I suppose Skesh is helping with deterring that music.
Indeed. That is going to, I think, do it for your turn, Woosh, unless you have something else?
Nope.
In that case, Dustu.
Do I have to use my whole turn to run away, or just my movement action?
Actually, I made a mistake on this originally. You were supposed to have used your reaction to move as far away as you were able to. So you dashed off backwards. You're 30 feet back, so you're kind of down the tunnel a little bit away from him. You're probably about 40 feet away from him total now. But now your turn is yours once more.
Good. I'm still afraid of him, correct?
You are no longer frightened of him.
Oh, good, perfect.
Just last for one round.
In that case, what does this do exactly? I imagine it's actually pretty good at that, so never mind that. I'm feeling kind of bad, so I'm just gonna and since they're all within range, anyone who needs help is about to get some.
Absolutely. What's the effect that you're using?
Prayer of Healing. Everyone within...
Prayer of Healing has a casting time of 10 minutes.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. Otherwise, that spell would be extremely good.
Never mind. In that case,
Sorry?
I'm going to Spiritual Weapon
So many rules. I'm confused about this game.
on that there cello.
All right, continuing to beat down upon the cello. I need you actually to roll with disadvantage, as that was actually what he was doing before. It was just that he was still hitting. As it is kind of a called shot in this instance because you're attacking the cello. Yeah, it still hits. All right, roll damage. Or you already rolled 4 force damage. Cool.
Yeah.
What's the appearance of your spiritual weapon?
It's actually just a giant turtle shell. Just kind of smashes into it.
It just.
Actually, no. It's a red turtle shell from Mario.
Yeah, this bright red Koopa shell, it just kind of like bounces off of the strings and you feel them impact. You can see some kind of the wood of the cello starting to splinter. Is there anything else on your turn?
Not really. I can't use anything else as a bonus action, so gotta chill.
All right. In that case, Sword, the turn passes now to you. There's one hand asleep. There's one that is next to Sugarmama, and then there's Mendelssohn himself, as well as the beetle that's trying to turn himself over. What do you do?
How far away from Mendelssohn am I?
At this point, you're probably only about 10 feet away from him. You're all kind of clustered into this room.
All right. I will take my spear and go for his cello and try to finish it off.
Yeah, go ahead and make an attack roll. Unfortunately, that attack misses. As you bring your spear down towards the cello, Mendelssohn is now used to these attacks and kind of pushes it aside, pulls it out of the way. Is there anything else on your turn that you're able to do?
Negative.
Okay. Yeah, you're now right up next to Mendelssohn as he's continuing to play his cello. That case, that's going to bring us to Sugarmama.
Hello. Skesh is still on the strings, isn't she?
This is a mistake I made last time, but unless you are a warlock, you actually cannot tell your familiar to attack. So Skesh is still on the strings, but only warlock familiars are actually able to attack.
Yes. Well, she can still.
Yeah, she's getting in there, just kind of being a nuisance and like trying to mess him up as he's playing. And
Right. Now, Sword is right there, right? Isn't that so?
Correct.
Yep, that's correct.
Well, dearie, you might want to move.
Woosh is there as well, actually. They're all kind of huddled around Mendelssohn.
Well, they slid down easily enough. It'll be fine.
And she's going to cast Popsicle, which is Ice Knife at Mendelssohn.
Oh, jeez. All right.
Save.
You conjure and toss a popsicle at Mendelssohn. 20 absolutely hits.
I need a dex save for the
And he's
secondary
going to
damage.
make a dexterity save. He succeeds on the dex save for sure. But I need Sword and Woosh to make dexterity saves.
No, afraid not.
Both of you take 9 points of cold damage. Mendelssohn takes a little bit less, but you watch as it explodes. The shards of ice slash into the cello. You watch as another string on the cello breaks apart and shatters. He's now just playing on 2 strings. You watch as his hands are moving furiously up and down the neck, trying to compensate. His arm is moving wilder and wilder. He now has a bow in 2 different hands that he's playing the cello on, as he does have 6 hands, being a grasshopper man. But the 2 of you, Sword and suffer some unfortunate damage as this popsicle flies across towards him. He moves fairly nimbly out of the way.
How well does he look?
Mendelssohn looks fine. His cello's starting to look pretty beaten up. His cello's down to 2 strings and it's also cracked.
Oh, I see.
Turtle shells, mate. Turtle shells.
Sorry, dearies. Still getting used to the power of the cloud.
And I think that brings us to Mendelssohn's turn, who looks to the two of you directly in front of him. Actually, I think this is also going to affect you. Sugarmama. Well, for starters, the ant's going to attack you again, Sugarmama. Does, or the first one, whatever the first one was. 24, I assume, hits.
It does.
You suffer 5 points of piercing damage as the ant bites onto you. And then you and the ant, as well as Sword and Woosh, I would like all of you to make me Constitution saving throws.
Okay. Fine.
What did everyone get?
I got a 20.
Excellent. As he casts Thunder Wave out at the group. Oh, well, it's not that high. It's also higher than the DC 0. So as the blast of thunder goes outwards, you take 1 point of thunder damage, Woosh, and each of you take 3 points of.
Sugarmama would have been that close.
15 feet. It's like a kind of a small room. The room size itself. I assumed you were in the middle of it, is what I imagined.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyway, Sugarmama and Sword, both of you are knocked back by the force of the blow. Sugarmama, that actually puts you into the back wall of the room. Sword, you're pushed back.
She's out. You're
down for the count? Okay.
Yeah.
And you are not knocked back at all. You're still right up in Mendelssohn's grill. And that's all for his turn. The ant is going to make a Constitution saving throw, which it fails. It's also tossed down to the ground over by Sugarmama, but not quite down yet. And you watch as the big beetle finally it kind of spins around and manages to roll over and is now on its legs, so it'll be joining the battle on the next round. That passes us now to Woosh.
I shall bonus action healing word the old lady.
Indeed, you speak a word of healing to your allies.
Get up!
As Sugarmama, you were revitalized once more, ready to stand.
No, did I doze off?
You're all right.
For my action, I'll try and claw the thing again. Oh, actually, I'll try and rape her. No, claw. Claws are stronger.
All right, you continue to claw. Go ahead and make it. Yeah, that definitely hits.
Ouches.
Damage. And you're gonna do the offhand claw as well.
I can't. I just use bonus action healing word.
Oh, yes. So as the claw slashes over, you watch as another string is cut from the cello. There's one remaining. Now he has both bows being played on the same string as the other two hands are tapping out like rhythms on the side of it, trying to continue to piece together barely the piece he was playing before. As his cello is almost defeated, strangely enough. Dustu,
angry. Dustu gonna go up and wreck some shit.
There's actually only
Be careful. Just like my boy, so hot-headed.
That was only a 7 damage hit, by the way, because it was a 22, because all these attacks have disadvantage because they're called shots.
Okay.
Dustu is going to go up with his warhammer.
All right.
First off, I have to do this because I already, did the thing. So.
Roll again for disadvantage.
Oh, that's the wrong thing. Never mind on that. 11 hit.
11 just hits, actually.
Perfect.
Not super hard.
Take another 8 force damage.
All right. The violin is. The cello is extremely close to falling at this point. It's almost completely destroyed.
And then I shall go up.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I'm not going to use my warhammer. Instead, I'm gonna touch him real bad. That's the wrong. I had to roll it on here. Give me a second.
Bad touch.
There it is. Touch him. Oh man, 11 still hits, right? On hit on the cello.
On the cello, yeah. Go ahead and roll damage.
Here, have it inflict wounds.
All right, 17 necrotic damage. You watch as the wood of the cello begins to... The cello. Well, now it is a cello of what it used to be, because as this energy seeps through it, you watch as the wood just seems to like shrivel and age almost. And then as it does so, you see the final string. You see the final string of the cello. It snaps. And at this point, I have no control over the music for some reason. Hold on, let me refresh my page so I can stop the music. As you no longer hear this music reverberating throughout. As you watch as Mendelssohn, as this happens, just takes the cello and just throws it down to the ground. Now it's actually been completely destroyed, and he is fuming. And he looks at you. How could you do that?
Well, I warned you we could have come to a better agreement, but you decided...
I agree that we could have come to a better agreement. And at this point, the beetle that was getting ready to kind of run some train stands up and he goes, Mendelssohn. Ah, my lord, you were very tired for a while. I will be returning to my seat. As you wish, my lord. And
Sugarmama's gonna go up to Mendelssohn and look at him a little pissed off. Oh, so you're their parents, are you?
A entertainer is like a parent to
No,
many.
it is not! She's going to go, no!
Oh my god. Roll damage.
She's upset.
Okay. You take a huge chunk out of Mendelssohn, who you see him just kind of like now jumping around the room on his like big grasshopper legs, and he is just kind of like running away from you now, trying to get away. The big Hercules beetle looks to the group of you. He is a rascal. He means well, I think, but I will have words with Mendelssohn.
Madam, do you require more
I did not
healing?
want him harmed. He does not seem like a terrible person, but his...
But some children need discipline.
Whack, whack. I assume there's like some wooden spoon involved, or the Candy Kingdom equivalent.
Well, I have a Tootsie Pop, and that works.
A Tootsie Pop, indeed.
Yeah.
I
The size of a
appreciate.
quarterstaff, of course.
I appreciate you returning the status of our hive to normal. And he looks to you now, Hercules Beale. Why did you come here for this purpose? And these are actually not the people that were paying you. Eventually, the group of you, he extends his hospitality towards you. You receive 1 experience point, and then later when you get back to the towns in the frontier, each town gives one of you 100 Bartholomew bucks, and you have succeeded in today's adventure, the first adventure of today. Jeremy, are you here?
It's Jeremy here. Jeremy's always here. But
Level up.
we're
More
about to
experience.
be.
That's
We're
not
about
creepy
to
at all.
be oh, I know, it's a little creepy. We're about to be in Bartholomew's shop.
Want to buy something?
Need a magic item, you know where to stop. Just head on down. It's your only choice.